Thank you for waiting. We are live now.
Madam Mayor, we're ready. Everyone's present.
Maybe Mayor Pro Tem?
She's coming on. The mayor's coming on.
I'm sorry. I'm back on now. I think I lost connection for a few minutes. Looks like we're live now. Is everybody ready?
We are.
Okay. So we're ready to begin tonight's Gardena City Council meeting for Tuesday, February the 22nd, 2022. Madam City Clerk, will you call the roll, please?
Mayor Serta.
Here.
Mayor Pro Tem Tanaka.
Here.
Councilmember Henderson.
Here.
Councilmember Cascanian.
Present.
Councilmember Francis.
Here.
All members of the council are present.
Okay. So tonight we're going to go into closed session, but before we do, Madam City Clerk, do we have anybody from the public wishing to speak on any closed session items?
No, we do not, Madam Mayor.
Okay. So at this time, we're going to go into closed session, hopefully be back by 7:30 and go ahead and restart the meeting. So if we can all just log off at this time.
Good evening once more time.
Good evening one more time again.
Paulette, are we ready for Saturday?
Oh, yeah, we're ready.
Good, looking forward.
Yeah, should be a great day.
Oh yeah, it's going to be sunny and 72 degrees, I think. It will be perfect weather.
But not too hot.
We don't want it to be too hot.
Yeah, but sunny would be great.
Yes.
Yeah, absolutely. Sunny would be great. And
And they paved the whole road over there too. It looks beautiful.
look like it's going to be ready. Thanks to Director Rick. I sure appreciate it. I got word today that he sent me an email saying that it will be ready.
Good, good.
That's good news. That's good news. So it should be a great day. And we'll, of course, we're combined with the Black History Month program afternoon in the park. So
Yes.
nice. Yeah. Yeah, I'm looking forward. Yeah, delayed but not denied.
Mm-hmm.
That's great.
All set, everybody?
Ready to go.
Okay. Rodney, are you here? Or you want to give them just a second? There you go. Everybody make sure we mute our cell phones. And I believe we're probably live, right?
Catherine, are we live?
Yes, we're live.
Oh, okay. Well, let's go ahead and start then. So we're ready to begin today's Gardena City Council meeting for Tuesday, February the 22nd, 2022. Madam City Clerk, will you call the roll, please?
Mayor Serta,
Here.
Mayor Pro Tem Tanaka,
Here.
Councilmember Henderson,
Here.
Councilmember Cascanian,
Present.
Councilmember Francis.
Here.
Madam Mayor, all members of the council are present.
Okay, thank you. All right, so tonight we had closed session. Madam City Attorney, do we have anything to report from closed session?
Yes, Madam Mayor. On item 2A from closed session, the matter of Rashawn Douglas versus the city of Gardena, the city recently attended a mediation where they were presented with the mediator's proposal in the amount of $60,000 subject to council approval. The parties tentatively agreed to that settlement on that date of the mediation. Tonight, the council voted unanimously 5-0 to approve that settlement in the amount of $60,000. And that concludes my attorney report tonight.
Okay, thank you. Before we go further, let me just read this quick little disclaimer. In order to minimize the spread of the COVID-19 virus, Governor Newsom has signed AB 361. Please be advised that council chambers are closed to the public and that some or all of the Gardena City Council members may be attending this meeting telephonically. If you would like to participate in the meeting, you can participate via the following options. The first way is viewing the meeting live on Spectrum Channel 22 or online at youtube.com/City of Gardena. The second way to participate is prior to the meeting. You can email our Deputy City Clerk at publiccomments@cityofgardena.org by 5 p.m. on the day of the meeting and write public comments in the subject line. The third way to participate is via the Zoom webinar. The link is https://us02web.zom/j/884271299975. The telephone number is area codes. We better without the glasses. Area code 669-900-9128, and the meeting ID number is 884-2712-9975. Press the number 9 to raise your hand and number 6 to unmute when prompted to. If you wish to speak live on a specific agenda item during the meeting, you may use the raise your hand feature during the item you wish to speak on. For non-agenda items, you will be allowed to speak during oral communications, and during a public hearing, you'll be allowed to speak when I open the public hearing portion. Members of the public wishing to address the City Council will be given 3 minutes to speak. The City of Gardena thanks you in advance for helping us to take all the precautions in preventing the spreading of the COVID-19 virus. So with that being said, let's move on to our Pledge of Allegiance. Tonight, we have 2 students here from Perry Middle School. We have Lauren and Melafihi. Hope I pronounced that right. And they will be leading us in tonight's Pledge of Allegiance. Whenever you guys are ready, go ahead. After you finish with the Pledge of Allegiance, if you can just stay on, and Mayor Pro Tem, if you can lead us in tonight's invocation. Okay, you guys can go ahead and start with the pledge.
Please stand, face the flag, put your right hand over your heart, ready, begin. I pledge
allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Okay, if you guys can stay on for a couple of moments here. Mayor Pro Tem, if you'll lead us in tonight's invocation.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. Let's pray. Father, we just thank you for another glorious day that you allow us to come and serve our citizens. And Father, we just want to pray for our country with the things that are happening in the Ukraine, that peace will prevail. And we just thank you for your guidance, Father, and all the things that are done. Father, we just want to reach out to our law enforcement community and the loss of Officer Vela. We want to pray for his family and the Huntington Beach Police Department for the loss of this officer doing his job. Father, we just thank you for all the things that you bless us with, all the things that you allow us to do. And most of all, Father, that this city council, we just thank you that we are able to take care of our community, our city, and the things that need to be done to make sure that we are the gem of the South Bay. So, Father, with all these things that we bring to you today, we thank you, we love you, and for your son's sake, we pray. Amen.
Thank you. I'm going to go back to the pledges for just a moment here. So tonight's Pledge of Allegiance was led by 2 students from Robert E. Perry Middle School. The first one was Lauren Portis. She's in the 8th grade. The second is Melafihi Tafua, who was in the 8th grade. And correct me if I've said your name wrong. So Lauren Portis is currently the ASB president, and Melafihi Tufia is currently the ASB Vice President. Both students are residents of the City of Gardena, and both possess a growth mindset, leadership, great planning, and communication skills. So we want to thank you guys for leading us tonight. You guys did a great job, and we're looking forward to hopefully you guys coming back in the future and leading us again in the pledge when we can be in person. So if everybody please give them a round of applause. Great job, guys.
Madam Mayor, are they part of the Admirals?
The Admirals?
At Perry Junior High School? That's the leadership program there.
Oh. Are you guys part of?
Our leaders, we don't have leadership anymore. Technically, we just have student council now.
Oh, okay.
Oh, okay.
Sorry, because I was part of the Admirals.
That kind of
my alma mater.
That dated Mayor Pro Tem there.
That's okay.
We'll call it student council now, or student leadership. All right, thank you guys again. And Mayor Pro Tem, thank you too for leading us in tonight.
Thank you, Madam Mayor.
Your prayers are always most appropriate, so we appreciate that. Okay, so with that, next we're going to go on to presentations. Tonight we have a special primary election, presentation regarding the special primary election for the State Assembly 62nd District. And I believe this here is going to be presented tonight by our City Clerk, Mina Semenza. And Mina, I'm going to go ahead and turn it over to you at this time.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. Madam Mayor and Honorable City Council, we will have a special primary election coming up on April 5th, 2022. The Assembly District 62 special primary election was called by California Governor Gavin Newsom to fill a vacancy in the 62nd Assembly District. This seat was previously held by the Honorable Autumn Burke. Now you can vote in person on Tuesday, April 5th from 7 a.m. to 8 p.m. at Raleigh Park Gymnasium at 13220 Van Ness Avenue in Gardena. This election affects Gardena residents who live within District 62 and is for one day only. And District 62 is north of Rosecrans. You can vote by mail. Ballot drop box locations will be open on March 8th, 2022. And those ballot drop box locations are at Raleigh Park and at the Nakaoka Community Center. And for more information, please contact the City Clerk's office at 310-217-9565, and we will be very happy to assist. And that concludes my presentation. Thank you very much.
Madam City Clerk, if you can stay on for just a moment here. Does any member of the council have any questions on this here? Because as leaders of the community, people will probably call us to ask us questions about this special election. So do you guys have anything for our clerk at this time? No? Okay, I guess that was pretty self-explanatory then. Okay, Mina, thank you very much.
You're welcome. Thank you.
Okay, so next we let's see, we have a proclamation tonight. It's Women's History Month. This is March of 2022. In 1987, Congress established March to be Women's History Month to recognize the achievements of American women of every race, class, and ethnic background that have made historic contributions to the growth and strength of our nation. The Women's History Month theme for 2022 is Women Providing Healing, Promoting Health. This theme is both a tribute to the ceaseless work of caregivers and frontline workers during this ongoing pandemic, and a recognition of thousands of ways that women of all cultures have provided both healing and hope throughout history. So at this time, as the mayor, I hereby proclaim the month of March to be March 22 to be Women's History Month in the city of Gardena, and encourage all citizens to recognize and honor the spirit, leadership, and vital and enduring contributions of women in our community in California and throughout our nation. Okay, so next up is appointments. Does any member of the council have any appointments at this time? No? Okay, let's move on to the consent calendar. I'm sure everybody's had the opportunity to take a look at that. Does any member of the council, I'm sorry, before I go to that, Madam City Clerk, do we have anybody from the public who wishes to discuss any items separately here?
No, Madam Mayor, we do not.
Okay, thank you. Okay, so do we have any member of the council who would like to discuss any items separately here? No? Okay, with that being said, can I get a motion to approve the consent calendar as is?
So moved.
Is there a second?
Second.
Okay, Madam City Clerk, there was a motion made by Mayor Pro Tem and a second by Councilmember Henderson. Will you call the roll, please?
Mayor Pro Tem Tanaka,
Yes.
Councilmember Henderson,
Yes.
Councilmember Cascanian,
Yes.
Councilmember Francis,
Yes.
Mayor Serta.
Yes. Okay. So next up is Planning and Environmental Quality Commission. Excuse me, action sheet here. We have two items. Item number 10A is in regards to a continuation of environmental assessment 14-21. Site plan review for conditional use permit 5-21 and the conditional use permit 6-21. Does any member of the council wish to call for review on this item here?
I do, Madam Mayor.
Okay, I'm gonna second that because I'd like to call for review too. I like to just kind of see the color palette that they're gonna go with for this project, and their landscaping and lighting as well. So it looks like we have two members who are calling for that. So
we will schedule that for an upcoming meeting in March.
Okay.
March 22nd.
March 22nd. Okay, and next we have item number, let's see, 10B, and this is regarding ordinance number 1840 here. And on this item here, let's see, no action is actually needed on this one here because it's going to be coming before the city council at a future meeting. So, okay. Next, we're going to move on to oral communications. Madam City Clerk, do we have anybody from the public wishing to speak at this time?
No, Madam Mayor, we do not.
Okay, thank you. Okay, so next we're going to move on to departmental items. First item up is item number 12A. Mr. City Manager.
Mayor Serta, members of the City Council. Agenda item 12A is public hearing for resolution number 6558. Resolution amending the Gardena general plan by adopting an environmental justice element and an update to the public safety plan and adopting amendments to the general plan implementation program, and direct staff to file a notice of exemption pursuant to CEQA guidelines section 15061 review for exemption. California state law requires every city to have a general plan consisting of 7 mandated elements. In 2016, state law was amended to also require an environmental justice element. The city's public safety plan, which is part of the community safety element, is required to be amended with a revision of the 2021-2029 housing element, and is required to cover certain topics. Additionally, the city is required to adopt an environmental justice element as it is concurrently revising the housing element and the public safety plan. On October 13, 2020, Council approved a consulting agreement with De Novo Planning Group for preparation for the public safety plan update and environmental justice element. The city held focus group meetings and conducted community surveys to help develop the goals and policies of the policy documents, and final drafts of the updated safety plan and the environmental justice element were posted on the city's website and advertised on the city's social media platforms on January 20, 2022. On January 27, 2022, the city hosted a virtual workshop on the environmental justice and public safety plan update. On February 1st, 2022, the Planning and Environmental Quality Commission held a duly noticed public hearing on the policy documents, at which time the commission voted 4-0-0, approving resolution number PC 3-22, recommending that the city council approve the amendments to the Gardena general plan by adopting an environmental justice element and an update to the public safety plan, and adopting amendments to the general plan implementation plan. There is no financial impact. What is required is to adopt resolution number 6558.
Okay. And, oops, I'm muted. Okay, so this here is a public hearing. And do we have an additional, any additional information before we open up for questions? Amanda?
Yes, Madam Mayor. Hi, this is Amanda Acuna on the planning staff here for the Community Development Department. We have on the line Kelly Hickler, Senior Planner with De Novo Planning Group. As Mr. City Manager mentioned, we hired on De Novo to prepare the city's environmental justice element and update to our safety element. So Kelly's going to be giving our presentation at this time.
All right, thank you, Amanda. Let me share my screen here. All right, thumbs up if you can see my presentation. All right, great. So let me rearrange some things on my screen here before I get started. Okay. So yeah, as Amanda said, my name's Kelly Hickler. I'm a senior planner with De Novo Planning Group, and we were hired by the city to prepare an update to the safety element and prepare a new environmental justice element. So I'm just going to walk you through the process for each of those. In early 2021, the city began updates to its safety element and began preparing a new environmental justice element in accordance with state law. Both elements are part of the city's general plan, which is a policy document that defines a long-term vision for the city over 10 to 20 years. It reflects the goals and values of the city, and it aims to balance growth with conservation and maintain quality of life. Public review drafts of both elements are available for download on the city's general plan website, which is shown here. Okay. So brief overview of the safety element. It's one of 8 state mandated components or elements of the general plan. Gardena's safety element was last updated in 2006. Since then, the state has adopted several new laws that dictate the information that must be included in the safety element. And as such, the safety element has been updated in accordance with all new relevant regulations. The safety element addresses the following topics: emergency operations, fire prevention, geologic and seismic hazards, hazardous waste, flood hazards, and climate change and resiliency planning. So I do want to point out our update was not a comprehensive rewrite of the entire element, but instead focused only on those topics that required under the new legislation, which had to do with emergency operations, fire prevention, and climate change and resiliency planning. So we did make a few minor modifications to the other sections, but most of that information and those other 3 sections is existing. All right, some of the proposed updates to the safety element. First of all current goals, policies, and programs have been maintained that were already in the element. We added information and references to related city and county plans and programs, including the city's emergency operations plan and climate action plan. We prepared an analysis of emergency evacuation routes available for residential areas in high hazard zones as required by Senate Bill 99, and we included those findings. We added new policies related to emergency preparedness. We added new policies related to fire hazards. We prepared a climate vulnerability assessment to help identify why, where, when, and which resources may be most at risk in Gardena due to effects from climate change. And then we added new policies related to climate change and resiliency planning based on the findings of that climate vulnerability assessment. All right, I'm going to switch over to the environmental justice element. I'll give you an overview of that. Senate Bill 1000, which is also known as the Planning for Healthy Communities Act, it was adopted in 2016, and it mandates that cities and counties with disadvantaged communities adopt an environmental justice element. And that term is in quotes. That is how they're referred to in the bill. What that means, how they're defined in Senate Bill 1000, disadvantaged communities are defined as low-income areas disproportionately affected by environmental pollution and other hazards that can lead to negative health effects, exposure, or environmental degradation. Additionally, under Assembly Bill 1550, low-income communities located within a half mile of these disadvantaged communities are also considered environmental justice communities. So based on that and using the Cal EnviroScreen mapping tool and the California Air Resources Board Priority Populations Mapping tool, 13 out of 14 census tracts in Gardena are considered disadvantaged communities. And I circled the one that is not, it's circled in red there. The one that's not considered a disadvantaged community does not meet HCD's low income threshold. So just that one census tract is not considered low income. And there's a lot more information about each census tract in the environmental justice white paper that's included as an appendix to the EJ element. All right, the EJ element addresses these topics here: pollution exposure and air quality, access to public facilities, healthy food access, safe and sanitary homes, physical activity, and civic engagement. Oh, whoops, there we go. I got ahead of myself. All right, so then the process for developing the EJ element was to incorporate existing related policies. The city's general plan did have many existing policies related to those EJ topics, so we incorporated those by reference. We prepared an environmental justice white paper that I previously mentioned that's included as an appendix, and that includes relevant background conditions. We conducted public outreach, and then we added new policies to reflect the findings of the white paper and the public input. Okay, so there's just a quick summary of our public outreach. We facilitated a focus group in July 2021 with representatives from these organizations here, including the school district, Senior Citizen Commission, Recreation and Human Services Department. We had a former planning commissioner and a pastor of a local church participate. Circulated an online survey from October 1st through November 5th. We had an online community workshop on January 27th. We incorporated additional feedback from that workshop into the EJ element. And then, of course, the public is welcome to attend and speak at public hearings, including this one this evening.
Kelly?
Yes.
You just may want to mention that in accordance with state law, this went to the Planning Commission for public hearing before it came to the City Council.
Yes, thank you for that clarification. So I'm going to quickly then walk you through a very high-level summary of the findings that were in that white paper, just so you have an idea and you don't have to, read the entire document to know what's in there. So the key findings for each topic here, starting with pollution exposure and air quality. The findings here are based on that CalEnviro screen, which ranks exposure to different pollution sources as high, medium, or low burden is what they call it. And you can see here that all 14 census tracts have high burdens in some different air quality indicators and high burdens in ozone, diesel particulate matter, et cetera. So there's some room for improvement there with air quality. There's 38 hazardous waste sites in the city, and they're generally clustered in the north area within one disadvantaged community tract. When it comes to public facilities, 7 of the city's 11 parks and rec facilities are pretty fairly distributed throughout the community. They're not just, clustered in one portion of the community. However, there's 6 disadvantaged tracts that are still missing a park and community facility. So there might be some room for improvement there. Then as far as bus lines and public transit goes, the city is doing a pretty good job there with providing bus service throughout. All right, so food access. Food insecurity rates by congressional district are one way to measure food access. There's 11 census tracts in Gardena within the 43rd congressional district and 3 census tracts within the 44th congressional district. So that's the findings shown here. You can see that within the 43rd district, the food insecurity rate's 11.6%. That's generally consistent with county, state, and national rates. In the 44th district, it's a little bit higher than those rates. So that might be an area to focus on there. We also found there's no supermarkets within the city boundaries north of Marine Avenue. Additionally, all census tracts have at least some households that don't have access to a vehicle, which means if they're relying on walking to the grocery store, it just makes it a little bit more difficult for them to get access to that fresh produce. Safe and sanitary homes. Many of these issues are already dealt with in the housing element, so we're not trying to recreate what's already in the housing element. Just some data to point out here. The overcrowding rates has a lower, so the city has a lower overcrowding rate and a lower rate of renter occupied housing than the county does. When it comes to housing cost burden, you can see 72.2% of renter occupied units are either low or extremely low income compared to only 44.7% of owner occupied. So in other words, that's just saying that renter occupied units spend a higher percentage of their income on housing than owner occupied units do. Okay, physical activity. We looked at how people get to work as one indicator of physical activity. We found that overall 2.6% of people are walking to work, 0.5% of Gardena residents are biking. The vast majority are driving to work. So there might be some opportunities for improvements there to add more pedestrian and bicycle infrastructure. And then lastly, community engagement. We looked at voter registration and voter turnout rates as an indicator of community engagement. We found that Gardena had a lower voter registration and lower turnout rate than the county did for the 2020 presidential election. So that's, you know, maybe an indicator of how people are engaging with the city. All right, so I'm gonna switch over and walk you through some of the new policies that we added to the EJ element. And as I said, we incorporated existing relevant policies into the element. So I'm not gonna go through every single one that we added. I'm just gonna focus on these, on the new ones that were added. So under this goal of reducing pollution exposure, the focus is on managing illegal dumping of trash and attracting, that's 1.1, and attracting new clean industry to the city, and that's EJ policy 1.2. In order to promote access to public facilities, the city will ensure that the development of parks and rec facilities keep pace with development. Work with the community to identify gaps in the bicycle and pedestrian network. Explore the possibility of adding more recreation classes. And also consider distributing city events across multiple parks. The city will also coordinate with the police department to address any safety issues in parks. Coordinate with partnering agencies on service delivery, work with G-Trans to establish and maintain routes to community facilities, and evaluate city facilities for any health hazards. To ensure healthy food access, the city will identify vacant lots and underutilized public land that can be used for community gardens, explore ways to expand healthy food options in the northern portion of the city, and encourage the establishment of farmers markets, mobile health food markets, and other types of community-supported agriculture programs. The city will also explore ways to expand walkable and bikeable healthy food options, ensure transportation connections to grocery stores, coordinate with local markets to reduce food waste, and coordinate the recovery of edible food from other types of industry. So this EJ goal is focused on safe and sanitary homes. The city will raise awareness about the risks associated with lead-based paint and other housing hazards, and conduct absentee owner outreach to inform them of the requirements to maintain their rental properties. The city will also distribute information about tenant rights and promote smoke-free multifamily housing properties. So like I said, there are policies regarding affordable housing and fair housing in the newly adopted housing element that we've incorporated by reference into this environmental justice element. So there is not a need to write additional new policies about those topics. I do want to briefly mention these programs from the housing element that are related to the EJ element, just to show how the EJ element is building upon these recently adopted programs. So things such as providing housing information and assistance to the public, expanding opportunities for housing throughout the city, creating a marketing brochure to promote Northern Gardena and attract supermarkets, expanding police meetings to provide better community access to city issues, providing free Wi-Fi in Raleigh Park, and providing rent mediation and arbitration to assist renters in disputes with landlords. All right, moving on to physical activity. The city already has quite a few policies related to physical activity, a very fit city. So we've incorporated all of those, and we just added this one new policy, which is to prioritize increasing opportunities for physical activity within disadvantaged communities. Then, in order to promote civic engagement, the city will support an equitable and comprehensive approach to public outreach, promote, sponsor, and support a variety of community events, make city information easily accessible, invite residents from underrepresented groups to become board, commission, and committee members, coordinate with the school district and other groups to distribute information and promote input opportunities, explore ways to provide information to older residents, provide materials in multiple languages, target outreach and surveys to specific demographic groups, partner with community organizations to conduct outreach, hold meetings at different locations and times and in different formats, target outreach to communities that will be most impacted, distribute materials far in advance of meetings, convey technical information in an easily understandable manner, facilitate meetings that appeal to multiple styles of learning, and finally, use Channel 22 to advertise input opportunities, publish the Gardena Live, Work, and Play booklet at least twice a year, And consider establishing an EJ committee to monitor the city's progress on implementation of the EJ element. So that concludes my my presentation. I know that was maybe a lot of information to cover, so I'm happy to answer any questions that City Council may have.
Okay. Does any member of the council have any questions? Let's start with Art, and then we'll go to Mark.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. Thank you, Ms. Kelly, for the presentation. I'm assuming this one is a public record, right? Everybody can see this on the website?
Yes.
Okay. I have few questions, but I don't want to ask the whole thing because I will go ahead and read it first and, educate myself with the information. But my main question will be this. When you guys did all this survey and all these studies, you mentioned that the north part of the town needs a market, it needs a few other stuff. Have you guys realized that there is no room to put supermarket, for example, in there? We have no facility, or we don't have the property that we can put a market. How can we say that it needs a market and we can put one in there? How can we justify this? If the public asks me, in your report says that we need a market, and what do I tell to my community?
Council member, I think the idea is that some of these same properties that we identified in the housing element, the same type of areas where the properties were basically underutilized, would be places that hopefully a new commercial activity would come into, and they'd find it with the changing demographics, hopefully a good place to place a supermarket. But we understand the city's 99% built out. There's not a lot of vacant land. Everything's going to pretty much have to be redeveloped. Exactly.
So that's a concern because I would love to put, not me, my colleagues too, we would love to do, anything possible to, to put any possibilities. So, that's the only thing, because right now when we put this, question to our community saying that they're recommending us to put the market in there, for example, and then, the community is going to come and ask us about it, that, they're recommending us to do it. And unfortunately, as you mentioned, Lisa, that, it's all developed already. So that's the thing.
Right. And this isn't for the city to actually, of course, place the market in, but for private markets to come.
Yeah, of course. Yeah. Private markets, but, if I don't have the, the facility, how do I, go and knock the doors saying to people, come on, we have the place or we don't, we need a market in there.
Demolition and reconstruction.
Absolutely.
Or refurbishment like they're doing in Torrance, where is it an Aldi market? Something that went in right on Crenshaw Boulevard recently. They knocked down a bowling alley.
The bowling alley went down and Aldi and the Chick-fil-A came over there.
Yep, exactly. So that's the type of thing I think we'd be looking at is to, there was in another city, the Kohl's shopping center, the Kohl's department store actually split in half, and part of it is a market now, and the Kohl's cut in half. So that's the opportunities that people are, looking for. Where can they redevelop?
Yeah, we have to ask Ms. Sickler, if she can have any ideas when we can demolish the north part of the town, and then we can put market.
I think that was probably outside of her scope.
Thank you very much, ma'am.
Mark, if you don't mind me just interjecting, while I have this thought in my head, Councilmember Kaskanen, I think the fact that we have this document here now just kind of re-emphasizes what a lot of people have been saying, like it was mentioned before. We don't have a market north of Marina. It's something that the community's been asking for. So now we have this document here now that just helps solidify that even more. And like with any of the properties, yes, we are built out, but we just have to reimagine, and hopefully a developer will get their hands on this as well, and we can market this to say, hey, this property that's potentially up for sale, that I'm going to use the example. Let's just say maybe it was a swap meet or something like that, or it could be anything. This is prime for what we want, market on Rosecrans or something like that, especially with a lot of the new development going there. So it's all about, I guess, developer coming in and reimagining this area and us being open to it. And this document is what I believe is going to help us out with that. So to kind of go from there.
Yes, I agree with you, Madam Mayor. One thing for sure, this particular document, it does support the things that people on the north end of town have been saying all along. We do need, there is food security in that particular area. And now I just have a question about, you mentioned the hazardous waste sites, or some, I don't know, would that be the former brownfield sites that we talked about one time? There still exists. I think it's about 30 of them or something like that. I forgot, I should have wrote it down. Somewhere in the document it talks about a particular census tract having more hazardous. Yeah. And with that, are you referring to the brownfields?
Yes. If it's helpful, I can bring up the figure that shows exactly where they are.
Yeah, they were in North Gardena mostly. Well, in fact, they are.
Yeah, let me share my screen here.
Councilmember Henderson, I didn't forget about you. Your question.
Okay, are you able to see the PDF that I'm showing?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so this is very zoomed in, but that's particularly where they are, and the different icons represent different types of facilities.
Mm-hmm.
But this is just giving you a general idea of where those are located. So I'm going to scroll down here. These are the different types of sites. Some of them are cleanup, active cleanup sites. And there's some that are under corrective action, et cetera. So they're just in different states of cleanup. There are some down here in the south portion as well, but predominantly you can see they're northeastern. Predominantly, and this is the census tract 6029 is where most of them are in here. And I believe that portion of the city is largely industrial. Anyway, you don't have as many neighborhoods there, but just something to keep in mind about where they are.
At one, I noticed that you didn't mention one time we had a Brownsfield committee. And I noticed that wasn't mentioned in the report. It was been going back a few years, but we had a Brownsfield committee that was working toward coming up with ways to not only identify those brownfields, but they were identified, but coming up with ways to address that concern. And I didn't see that in the report. That was one of the things I kind of wondered about as I read through it. It's a very, very good report, though. Thank you, because it supports a lot of what we've been talking about for a long time. So, and the Environmental Justice Committee is, I think I like that idea, because a lot of times when we do these types of studies and plans and reports, they get put on a shelf until we need to pull out part of it to support a new development or something. So I think with the Environmental Justice Committee, it will help keep it going and moving in the direction of environmental justice, make sure that all the things that we talk about in this particular report will happen. So I like the idea. And by the way, the Beautification Commission, we've been talking about community gardens. So if anybody's out there interested in putting together one, we got a place for you. But thank you so much for your report.
Okay. Councilmember Henderson, I'm sorry. I know you had another question. My apologies.
Don't worry about it. It's okay. A lot of the stuff was already covered. And everybody knows I love to knock stuff down, so this is right up my alley. But Ms. Heckler, in regards to the environmental justice report, is there also a recommendation that we create an electronic dashboard so when the committee is doing its work, they can, red, yellow, green, so we can actually track the progress in real time as we address some of these things? I noticed in the report it said there was no supermarket really north of Marine, but there's one on the corner of Crenshaw and Marine, so that one got missed. It still doesn't cover the northern part, Rosecrans forward. To my colleague's point, Councilman Cascanian, because we're 99% built out, would this report then give us the teeth that we can now tell developers, hey, we're looking to do this or looking to do that versus more housing and everything? And could you really explain the lower rent income scenario and everything? So we're trying, with the housing element, we're trying to create more affordable housing, but then that also skews our numbers that now we have more affordable housing or lower income housing, however that's being worded now these days and everything. So now how do we go the other way to cure one issue of making sure that housing is affordable, but at the same time not be over-reliant on affordable housing?
Hey, Councilmember, if I can jump in a little bit here. When in the appendices of the housing element, which I don't think anybody got into the nitty-gritty of because it's so complicated, but when the sites inventory was listed, it actually shows how much of each level of housing they expect on each site. So I don't think anybody was saying all of the low-income housing was going to go into the north. The idea was to spread it around, and sites were identified based on their density as to how much affordable versus market rate versus moderate that each site was expected to have. And again, remember, our low income is essentially teachers, or at least beginning teachers, and their salaries. So they still need these basic services. They
right.
Aren't homeless people.
But because our housing element is just addressing housing and not necessarily food issues and different things like that, does that give us now the latitude to say maybe we can reduce our housing element some?
No.
Because I'm not sure how we do both, increase housing and.
Well, remember that the housing element site inventory created like a 20% buffer. Was that right, Amanda? A 20% buffer. So we don't expect every site to be developed, and the buffer was there for especially that reason, that we knew not every site that was identified would in fact be developed with housing. So if certain sites aren't developed, that were slated for housing, we have to make the findings that there's still adequate sites available in the housing element to accommodate those various income categories. And that's the purpose of the buffer.
Okay, and then my final question is, because I realize we're now going to set up a committee, which is great, and I'll definitely volunteer to chair that if we need that. But the one census tract that is not labeled a disadvantaged community, how is that possible when we're all in the same 6 square miles? What's unique about that tract that's different from everything else?
Yeah, it's just that CARB, the California Air Resources Board mapping tool, does not designate that one specific census tract as low income based on their data. So it could be the one, well, this is the case, the ones surrounding it meet the threshold, but just that one census tract doesn't meet the low income threshold.
So
Okay, I'm done. No problem.
Just a quick question. You mentioned something that I also wanted to ask. So essentially, when you talk about disadvantaged communities, it has more to do with not so much as income levels, but more in terms of environmental type hazards with air pollution, living near hazardous sites. So not so much in terms of income, because I know I wouldn't necessarily call where I live this, but it has to do with the pollution and what the AQMD has identified.
Yeah, it's actually both of those things. So it's low income communities who are disproportionately impacted by environmental and health hazards.
Can you help me? Because I know I heard somewhere affordable income is someone earning around $97,000 a year. So what would low income look like?
Let me.
I know teachers are already. You know, I am a teacher, so I understand that. That's beginning teacher salary for sure. But our young professionals. So what would low income look like now? Especially when you have all this.
Amanda, can you pull up from the housing element?
Yeah.
Web page.
Oh, yeah, that's
our web on our website that has the household size and.
Yeah, of course. Yeah, I'm looking at it right now, and would you like me to?
Yeah, if you could put it up so anybody watching can see as well.
Sounds good. So let me know. Can you see it now?
Yes, we can. Thank you.
Sorry about all the switching. So yes, this table here shows the average household. Dependent on size of the household, so whether it be 1 person, 2 person, 3 person, or 4, and what total income, annual income is considered either very low, extremely low, very low, low, or moderate. So even at a low income level, a 1 person household making 66,000 would be considered low income. And again, if it were for, let's say, a 3 person household with a total annual income of 85,000, roughly, they would also be considered low income in accordance with the overall county's rates.
Mm-hmm. That's what I wanted to point out. So what has been traditionally considered to be low income is not necessarily low income anymore in terms of today's income levels, particularly, and it was just interesting to me that we were talking about low income areas and we have new housing going up at what is selling for $700,000 sales tag on it, but yet still we consider this to be low income. So that's why I wanted to make specific mention of that, because I think folks need to know that things have changed and I'm now entry level professionals.
Kelly, can you also clarify that I believe you could still just be within a half mile of an area in that, and then your area that you're living in would also be considered a DAC. And so you may not necessarily actually be living in a lower level area.
Right, that's correct. I'm going to pull up a higher quality version of the disadvantaged community map here. This is the same one I showed in my presentation. So you can see, I'm going to scroll down here so you can see the key to the colors. Anything that scores 75% or higher, so these orange, kind of light red, darker red colors are what are considered to be disadvantaged communities under Cal Enviro screen. And those are shown with these gray hash marks. The ones that have these dots in them are the ones that meet that criteria under Assembly Bill 1550. They're within half a mile. So these are low income census tracts within half a mile of these Cal Virus Screen communities.
Yeah, I just really wanted to kind of drive home the point. What was once considered to be a disadvantaged community is not solely based on income, and that the income levels have changed because 60,000, there was a time if you were earning 60,000 a year for a 1 or 2 person house, you were considered to be more upper middle class. Things have changed, but with the addition of the air quality element and has living within a half mile of a hazardous site, it changes the conversation. So, and I just want to make everyone aware of that's key.
Yes.
Okay. Art, you have a question?
Very quick question, ma'am. It's a short answer, I'm assuming, but can I have like a moment, please?
Go ahead.
Ms. Kelly, can you put that in your PowerPoint presentation where the hazardous materials are present in the city? You mentioned with the dots, the reds.
Yes.
Thank you.
And let me know if you want me to zoom in or out.
Why don't we go to the south part first and we go up back the north? Okay, thank you. All right, so over here, are these, let's say the south part, the 3 red dots, are they current, these things, the hazardous sites?
The squares? Or
yes, the squares or the round ones. I mean, well, the square ones cleanup program site, that means it's being cleaned up and gone, that's it?
Yeah, they're active cleanup, or they're actively being they're in the process of being cleaned up.
Okay. For example, that Honeywell, he's been gone, I don't know, it's been like 20 plus years they gone from the city, yes. And there's a new development. I mean, development came over there, housing, market, restaurants, all kind of stuff. So how is that possible that, this will be accurate, that they are cleaning still?
There could be ongoing monitoring there. Sometimes the cleanup programs they have to continue to monitor.
Okay, then I would prefer to put a different icon over there to say that, it's monitoring, because this thing will kind of make the community or other people that they're going to come into the city, when they see this, this will be disadvantage to us, right?
Councilman, these are not Kelly's markers, if I understand right. These are straight from the state website, from the DTSC and Virostar. Is that correct, Kelly?
Yes, that's where we got them from. That's why they are the way they are. But that being said, we can certainly, if there's need or direction to make them more specific to suit the city's needs, we can do that.
Well, I mean, this is a false statement, in my opinion. I mean, I'm not accusing anybody, don't get me wrong, but when I'm a stranger to the city, and when I get this report and I see over there cleanup program site, and then I see the Honeywell, and I will say, well, there is some chemicals over there. I don't want to be there. So this is a false advertisement, in my opinion. So as of councilman, I would like to request to make that correction exactly what it is right now. For example, the United Oil, the rapid gas, Honeywell. I didn't look on the top north part of the town. If we go to the north part of the town, I know that there is the Chevron pipelines. I understand that, yes. And one more thing over here, I would like to bring up to Amanda or Craig regarding the Sonic Plating Company. If they are, I know they use chemicals, and if they are harsh to the people or surrounding the neighborhood, we should consider and visiting them and see what's going on over there too. So, these things has to be accurate in order for me to go ahead and say to the people that, hey, we have this, but it's been taken care of. But I just want to make the correction to be, if we're going to tell the people, I want to tell them the right thing, not assuming things. Thank you.
But does this show the sump over there on Artesia? Isn't it one of those? Is that one of the sites down at in the southern part?
Blue.
Is one of those the sump?
Blue. It's blue. Yeah. Blue circle.
Blue circle. Okay. So that's still there. Is that correct?
Yes, it is there.
Yeah.
It is there.
They cleaned up anything. It's still the current state, and I guess Honeywell.
I'm not saying anything, but I just want to make sure, the statement that we're going to go ahead and tell the people, the community, or the developer to come to the city. I want to make sure that we're talking to them, we're giving them the correct, the answers, whatever they ask for. Mm-hmm. So either if it's going to take, we have to go to the state, we have to go to the state and make the correction.
Well, let me just quick question. This, where the Gardena, where it says Honeywell, the Gardena Marketplace, wasn't that, trying to remember, well, of course it had to go to some process where the land, there was some type of mediation that went on to clean up that particular, right there where it says Honeywell, to clean that site. Wasn't there a process that we went through, or is this just coming back here?
They did clean up the site, and they put the new housing over there. Uh-huh. Even though they built the model houses and then they demolished the model houses, and they had to clean it, and then they put it back.
Then they put it back. So
exactly.
But even though it's been cleaned, do we? I guess your question is whether or not it still needs to be identified as a previous site.
Yeah.
In case
it says clean up program site. That means they're monitoring, as Lisa mentioned, said maybe there is a monitoring or something. But it's a done deal over there. I don't know if they are monitoring. If that's the case, then must be something wrong in there. So it's been 20 plus years that the Albertson Market is there. So
yeah, well, I remember there was something else that went on, and they, like you said, they did. It was, we were going back. You're right, about 20 years. But this says cleanup program site, so it's just identified as a site that was once has it. Am I right on this, or arrest me if I'm wrong? But it's just saying that it was a site at one time, but it's been cleaned up. Is that what the little square? He's got me wondering now as well. Is that am I correct on that, or?
Yeah, this isn't showing every single site, and I'll double check this as well. But I think anything that's not actively, if it's not an active site, it doesn't have any monitoring any longer, then it wouldn't be on this map.
Okay, so that's right. No, I hear what you're saying, council member.
Because I just wanted to make sure this is a correct information that we're going to give out to the community and to the developers. So, I don't want to scare them off. That's my whole intention is. That's it.
Well, they won't be frightened. They're building Northern Gardena, so they won't be frightened.
Well, I mean, look at how many dots you have in northern part of the town.
And they're still building. Forget about it.
Exactly.
So, anyway,
thank you.
I understand what you're saying, though.
I have a question. And it goes back just to the markets here, when we were mentioning that I guess there's a map that shows there are no markets that are north of Marine. So are they only counting like the chain markets versus an independent market? For instance, Superior Market, I mean, it's an independent market and technically it's on Marine. So I don't know if you want to get technical, say it's north of Marine, even though it's on Marine. And then the Green Farm Market. So independents don't count, but maybe just chains do. But would that be my understanding?
Here's the food access map. So we mapped major supermarkets, small family-owned market or specialty and convenience stores. What's the location that you said?
It's Marine and Crenshaw. It's a market. I used to be in the grocery industry, so we used to call those just independent. So even though it's the size of like a Ralph's, you know, we call it chain. I mean, it is a chain. I mean, they have, I don't know, 35, 37 stores all over town here. But I guess for all intents and purposes, I guess, are we thinking in terms of just chains only, or?
Is it this yellow dot?
Yes, that's correct.
Okay.
I think the correct statement is there isn't a major supermarket north of.
I see. Okay.
Yes, right.
Going off of the
That's
key at the bottom.
Clarification.
Okay.
Yeah,
But may I ask a question? When you talk about food insecurity, areas of food insecurity, you're also speaking in terms of accessibility, in terms of how easy it is for people to get to this particular market or major supermarket. And I think, was that what the report was trying to show, that in terms of accessibility, that in this particular south of Marine, there's issue of being able to walk to the market or ride a bicycle. Everything needs to have those you have to have a car or some type of transportation to get there. Is that how you were counting it?
Yeah, that's correct. So that's another way to think of food insecurity or access to food is these census tracts in the northern portion of the city have lower rates of vehicle ownership than the southern census tracts. So if there's more households that don't have any access to a vehicle, then they're going to be walking, riding a bike, taking the bus. So it just makes it a little bit more difficult to make that trip to the grocery store.
It's not a major change or independent, but also has to do with accessibility. Is that correct?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
Okay. Any other questions or comments?
I have a comment, Madam Mayor. I mean,
Okay.
I'm so excited about this thing. So anyway, just a comment that we can put a market on the north part of the town. And I just popped in my mind that there is a property that we could have used it, but I don't know if it's still active or not, that we approved to put the apartment buildings on Crenshaw and El Segundo. So I don't know if that project's still going on or not. That's a huge property right there. Thank you.
Okay. That project's still going on, but okay. Madam City Clerk, do we have anybody from the public wishing to speak on this item?
Just give me a moment. Let me check.
Okay.
Thank you. No, Madam Mayor, we do not.
If there, one last chance, any more questions or comments before I close the hearing? Okay, at this time, the hearing is closed and, okay. I'd like to ask if we could, can I get a motion to adopt resolution number 6558?
So moved.
Second.
Okay, Madam City Clerk, there was a motion made by Councilmember Henderson and a second by Mayor Pro Tem. Will you call the roll, please?
Councilmember Henderson.
Yes.
Mayor Pro Tem Tanaka.
Yes.
Councilmember Cascanian.
Yes.
Councilmember Francis. Mayor Serta.
Yes. Councilmember Cascana, I thought you'd be the first one to push that motion since you were so excited about it. So
I know, but I let my colleague to do it. It's okay.
there you go. Okay. So next up is item number, thank you guys for that, for the presentation and so on. Next up is item number 13A, Mr. City Manager.
Mayor Serta, members of the City Council, 13A, item 13A is our COVID-19 update. I'm going to be sharing my screen. Can everybody see my screen?
Yes.
All right. So this is as of today, February 22nd, 2022. Our total case count is at 15,936. That is up 282 since the last meeting. And in retrospect, the last meeting we had, the increase on that one was 1,111. So we are definitely trending the right direction as far as the cases going down. The death count, however, is at 252. That is unfortunately 11 more than the last time we reported. So our death count did increase 11 as of today. As far as vaccination is concerned, the children of 5 to 11 sector is at 29.4%. Ages 12 and above is at 87.3%. The youth from ages 12 to 17 is at 79.6%. And our seniors 65 and above is at 95.1%. We continue to operate our COVID clinic at Raleigh Park since August 23rd, 2021. That's when we first started that. Total residents tested is at 5,186, and that is 197 tests since the last council meeting. And our average is approximately 34 residents per day. That concludes my report. I'm happy to take any questions.
Are there any questions anybody has at this time? No? It's good to see our numbers are starting to go down now. Okay, next up is item number 14A, Mr. City Manager.
Mayor Serta, members of the City Council, agenda item 14A is the execution of one-year agreement with JL Group LLC for background investigation services not to exceed $77,000. In December 2020, the Gardena Police Department released a request for proposal, or RFP, to acquire a new contract for background investigation services related to both sworn and civilian applicants. The minimum requirements of the RFP were that the select contractor shall have a minimum of 3 years experience, shall possess a valid California Bureau of Security and Investigative Services, or BSIS license, and be a peace officer standard and training or post certified. The RFP also stated that it was the preference of the city that all personnel who performed under this contractor are licensed private investigators. The city received 7 proposals, and JL Group LLC was determined to be the lowest responsible bidder. Therefore, council awarded a 1-year contract to JL Group LLC on March 23rd, 2021. The original agreement was a 1-year contract that could be extended by 2 additional 1-year periods. This agreement is the second year and is the first of 2 1-year extensions. The Gardena Police Department has been satisfied with the services provided by JL Group LLC. The background investigations have been thorough and led to the successful hiring of approximately 18 applicants. Based on the successful relationship with JL Group LLC thus far, the Police Department would like to exercise the option for a 1-year contract extension as allowed by the RFP and contract. Per the terms of the contract, JL Group LLC will maintain their original pricing of $1,320 for sworn employee background investigations and $1,080 for civilian employee background investigations, and a $480 for initial screenings. The Police Department anticipates the same in the estimated annual quantity of each background investigation. Therefore, the Police Department anticipates the 1-year contract with JL Group LLC to once again not to exceed $77,000. JL Group has over 70 years combined experience in law enforcement and private investigation. All the individuals who will work on this contract are licensed private investigators. The investigators have worked with agencies such as Huntington Beach Police Department, Carlsbad Police Department, and the City of Torrance City Attorney's Office, to name a few. Financial impact, this 1-year contract with JL Group LLC will be funded by contractual services and shall not exceed $77,000. What's required tonight is to authorize and execute the contract.
Okay, thank you. So does any member of the council have any questions or comments at this time?
Just one. So this is an extension of an agreement that was already in place, or is this a new? It's just extending it for an additional year.
The initial contract is for a 1-year contract with a 2-year extension. So this is the first year has already passed. This is the first of 2 1-year extensions that is allowed by the contract.
Okay, so
they're exercising the first year.
So we're just approving the extension?
Correct. This is just an extension of the 1-year contract.
Okay. I recall that we went through the the process of looking at other agencies that did similar work, and this was one that seemed to, according to our police chief, work best for our purposes. And that's why they were awarded initially. Is that correct?
That's correct. We didn't want to do a 3-year contract based on, we wanted to see how the performance was, and police department is very satisfied with the performance on the first year, and that's why we're bringing this back to exercise the second year, or the first of the 2 1-year extensions.
And the costs have remained the same. There are no increases. What they were charging in the beginning, they're still charging the same amount?
Correct. There will be no increases to the fees, and we don't anticipate any going above and beyond the number of investigations that we're going to be doing next year. So the not to exceed is still at $77,000.
Just one more quick question. So at the end of this 2-year extension, what happens then?
Then if the council does desire to extend the contract again next year, then we exhaust that, and after that we would have to go to RFP again, and then go through the process of selecting the candidates or the contractors for this for investigation services.
Thank you, City Manager.
You're welcome.
Any more questions or comments? Madam City Clerk, do we have anybody from the public wishing to speak on this item?
Let's see. No, Madam Mayor, we do not.
Okay, so at this time, I'd like to ask, does anybody would like to make a motion to authorize and execute this contract?
So moved.
Is there a second?
Second.
Okay, Madam City Clerk, there was the motion.
I'm sorry, Miss Councilmember Francis seconded.
That's fine. Okay. There was a motion made by Mayor Pro Tem Tanaka and a second by Councilmember Francis. Will you call the roll, please?
Mayor Pro Tem Tanaka.
Yes.
Councilmember Francis.
Yes.
Councilmember Henderson. Councilmember Henderson.
Yes.
Thank you. And Councilmember Cascanian.
Yes.
Mayor Serta.
Yes. Okay, next up is item City Manager's remarks regarding our directives and council items. Mr. City Manager, it's all yours.
Madam Mayor, would you like to do the directives first?
Oh, you're right. Sorry.
Yeah.
I forgot to highlight that. Do we have any directives tonight from any members of the council? Let's start with Councilwoman Francis. I see your hand up.
Yes, thank you. I'm just have another question about the project at on El Segundo and Crenshaw. It has been cleaned, but there's still a lot of graffiti on the walls, and there's still 2 big trash containers there, and there's another trailer thing there. So I was wondering, maybe what might help us, is it possible that when we approve a project that we request that the developer maintain the site until such time they demolish it, even write some type of language in to make sure that this kind of thing doesn't happen again? It's not the first time. There have been a couple other sites where the developers the project was approved and end up graffiti being all over the place and the property not taken care of. So is there some place where we can put language into the agreement that will kind of put them on notice that once we approve a project, we expect you to maintain it according to whatever does it already exist and we're just not doing it?
Councilmember Francis, we'll go through our conditions and we'll make sure that type of language is included in all future projects.
Yes, they whatever needs to do so it looks nice, because that was
and in the meantime, we'll reach out to the developers out there and ask them if there's something they can do to clean up.
Yeah, there's barbed wire, it looks like, and as a matter of fact, I believe somebody's broken in again. That is this where the door was, it's been pulled up.
Can I ask a question just as that was said? So whenever a developer, somebody assumes a property and now they're the owner, if they become the owner today and all of a sudden somebody graffitis tomorrow, they're responsible to clean that up right away, right?
Yes.
Because technically, okay. But they should be, of course, be monitoring this. So, and if not, then we come in. Okay.
Yeah, but
I was just kind of wondering.
Yeah, you're right, Madam Mayor. But I'm thinking because this is it's rather than say, for example, me being a business owner and my business being graffiti. These are people that are not there to watch to make sure that. And I think we just need to put some language and I thank you, Attorney Kranis, for being willing to write some conditions into it. I appreciate that. Thank you so much. And I just have one more concern. You know, when I saw real estate, one of the things I did if I was a listing agent or selling agent, as I walked through the property, if I noticed that there may have been a remodel or an add-on, you know, I would always question. I started making a list of things I need to take care of during the escrow. Oh, do you have permits for this particular addition or your remodel? Did you put permits on this or whatever it was to make sure I handled those things in escrow because I didn't want anything holding up my deal. Well, that was just something I just did to protect my deal, make sure that my deal went through and I could reach a happy conclusion with a commission check at the end. But I understand that now that's a requirement. It's no longer up to the listing or selling agent, that it's requirement. So what happens is, I'm just concerned about what's going on, because I think as the pandemic is over, I think you're going to see homes going up for sale, and there's going to be, I just want to make sure that the service goal community development is there to meet the concerns, you know, that because, you know, 4 to 6 weeks to pull a permit or whatever that process is, that can ruin your deal, and interest rates are going up. You know, I had to tell, you know, so is there anything that we can do to help? I thought we had some consultants that we were paying to make sure to, but am I being clear?
Are you referring to the city's requirement for a disclosure statement?
No, not, as I understand it, what's going on with real estate now, when you sell a property, you have to make sure that all these things are met before you close escrow. Like I said, when I sold real estate back in the day, it was just a matter of me, because I just want to make sure I didn't run into any problems. When I got ready to close escrow and, you know, issuing title insurance and all of that, I didn't want to have any trouble. So now I understand it's required. So if I have sold my home and I come to plan because I had a remodel and I didn't pull permits because I know I had to pull a permit to remodel my bathroom or remodel my kitchen, or the contractor didn't did it. I want to make sure that the turnaround time is, what can we do to make sure that turnaround time of getting a permit pulled, plan submitted, and all whatever it is they do, it won't ruin the deal. You know, because 4 to 6 weeks, if you're on a 60-day escrow or 90-day escrow, you can lose your deal. So I just want to make sure that what can we do to help this process, to make sure that when a person comes in and say, you know what, I sold my property, I need a permit, there's a quicker turnaround. Is there anything we can do to help folks?
Greg, I'm going to let you take that one.
Excuse me, Madam Mayor. I mean, is this a directive or it's a?
Well, it can be if, I don't know. Because I was just wondering about some of the service goals. And even now when I call the day and nobody answers the phone, I got a recording. That's kind of, I'm thinking if I'm a developer or a homeowner and I need to get something done, I don't want to hear a machine. I want to hear somebody say, hello, can I help you? And I thought we were paying consultants to take care of or turn that around for us. Well, this was before your time.
All right, City Manager, here is your directive then.
So let me try and answer your question, Councilwoman. The first thing, I guess you're talking about whether or not permitted or non-permitted construction work done on a residential unit is disclosed during escrow or not. So to answer that, our municipal code requires what's called a truth in sales report or property information report. Now that's a requirement. However, the buyer of the property could waive that. And there's a form they could fill out saying that they waive wanting to know what was legally constructed or not. Why they do that, I don't know.
Yeah,
but we don't encourage that. We discourage that. And that's why in our municipal code, we say, hey, you need to obtain a property information report or a truth in sales report, so that we do send out an inspector, that we do go through the permit file, and we disclose all permitted items, and the inspector has the opportunity to identify for the buyer what hasn't been permitted, so that the buyer knows exactly what they're getting into. Unfortunately, there's some buyers, whether they knowingly or do not know, they waive this right to do that.
That's not what I'm speaking to. I understand for all real estate sales now, there's a requirement before you close escrow. You sign something that's specific to Gardena, but as I understand it, maybe I do a little bit more research, but it still took I have one particular thing, and I'm thinking about it. It just took a really long time. Interest rate popped up, and the seller lost their deal. So I'm just trying to figure out what can we do to make sure that the turnaround time of something like this, it won't take 2 months.
I guess I would need a specific example, but so what I've seen since I've been here is an illegal addition to a home. And the seller or buyer, when they got the truth in sales report, said, well, this room is not permitted. And they may be in a 30-day escrow. Trying to legalize a unpermitted unit or addition, it cannot be done in 30 days. You could identify that it was done illegally. The inspector can go out and identify that. It's then on the seller to obtain and find a contractor to go ahead and have drawings, as-built drawings done. You would have to have the inspector, they would have to knock down walls or drill holes to determine whether or not it was constructed correctly. Likely it has not. All the utilities, electrical, water, gas, anything that's running in that particular addition would have to be inspected, or if not, built to code. Some of these items that are found not permitted could take a lengthy time in getting them permitted, but it's there to protect the buyer, that they get a legal home. They shouldn't be rushed into, let me buy a home that's not permitted just for the sake of closing escrow. That's dangerous.
No, that's not my concern. My concern is when we know and it gets to you, what are we doing to make sure, and not rushing the process, but what are we doing to make sure, or can we at least take a look at how we go about doing that? Getting this, I do think that it's going to be a concern. So what can we do as city to ensure that it's reasonable, whatever a buyer or seller has to go through is reasonable within a reasonable time period? As I've heard about Microsoft Teams or whatever, we do it on computer or virtually. So what is it that we can do? That's my question. That's all. Maybe we take a look at, because I remember we, in terms of training, I thought we paid some consultant, I forget which one it was, to kind of help us with the operation community development so that all these things could happen. But anyway, I'll get back to you. I don't want to belabor the point because it sounds like we're talking about two different kinds of concerns, and I'll be a little more specific next time. I don't want to, keep going over. Maybe I'm just too. I don't have what I'm specifically talking about. And I'll be more specific. Thank you. I appreciate your input and explain the process. But I'm just concerned that as properties go up for sale, that there's a process that they can expect a time certain for things to happen, at least to know what it is they need to do so they don't lose their deals.
Sure, yeah.
Oh, I'm sorry. Any other directors? No? Okay. Councilwoman, maybe just before for the next time, if you want to talk to city manager and Greg, maybe prior to, so we understand the right question, and then we can still even bring it back before the council like this. So the public understands the question, you know what I mean? So that we're not missing here.
Yeah, no, I understand. Sometimes, I think we're pretty much clear on where I was headed with this, but I'll be very, very specific next time. That's all.
And that way the public understand the question, and then we as a council,
Well, I think you understand, because we're talking about, it's real clear. We just want to make sure that there's a specific process that if I'm trying to sell my home, I need to know, like right away somewhere along the line, and that I don't, have to keep going back to inspector or waiting for the inspector to come, or, trying to get in contact with somebody to schedule an inspection or schedule an appointment to come in to see, all that, it takes time. I'm just trying to figure out can we set a timeline? You have some type of timeline. So from phone call, my house being sold, I need a inspector to come out because there's truth in disclosure.
Right.
Documents there, so it just doesn't keep dragging on. Trying to find people and all that. That's all. And I think that was pretty clear. But
okay,
appreciate it, Madam Mayor. Thank
you. Councilmember Mayor Pro Tem.
I have a directive, not a question.
Okay.
So I've had a lot of complaints about the railroad tracks on Western and Normandy. That run from Crenshaw Lumber all the way through to Normandy, where it goes almost to let's see, it's the taco place, and people are complaining about the way that the tracks are lower than the street. And when they drive through there, it causes a lot of issues. And I've complained about the one on Western because of my own personal vehicle, but it's starting to become people that are calling and asking, what are we gonna do about that? So my directive is, can we take a look at what is going on with the two railroad tracks on Western and Normandy and see if we can't alleviate the problem? Because the tracks are actually lower than the roadway.
I'll second that because I had to dodge the hole on Western right there. So I'll second that.
Okay.
Thank you, Mark. Because I haven't submitted a claim yet, but I'm going to tell you what, I've had my wheels realigned 3 times now.
Oh, okay. Okay. Any more directives?
Lane number 1, has more dip, and then the lane number 2.
Right, and that's why everybody goes around it.
Oh, didn't know that. Okay, are there any other directives? No? Okay. So let's move on to city manager remarks regarding our previous directives.
Mayor, sir, the members of the city council, for my city manager remarks, I do want to highlight the 3 memos that were sent to your attention. 2 of them are from the city attorney. The first one is the council directive removing the term alien from city agreements. And as the city attorney reported on their memo, her office has reviewed all city templates on agreements and removed any references to the term alien on any of our agreements. The second memo that the city attorney sent the city council is regarding the question on initiative number 21-0042A1, which is the Taxpayer Protection and Government Accountability Act. That act would amend the California Constitution to restrict the ability of the state, counties, and cities and the electorate to approve or collect taxes, fees, and other revenues. And the third memo is in response to council directive, which explains the Community Development Department's response and plan of action for the continued maintenance of a property located at 12850 Crenshaw Boulevard. We do have a short video tonight, which is going to highlight Rec and Human Services is doing. We're also going to highlight some of the future activities that we have for the city, including the free COVID-19 vaccinations, Paint in the Park, State of the City, and Casino Night. I'm not going to go through that right now because it's in the video. While we prepare that video, I just want to say the short blurb here that after a short hiatus due to increased COVID-19 cases, the Rec and Human Services Department is back with activities for all to enjoy. This Saturday, a paper shredding event was held to allow our residents to dispose of unwanted paperwork in a safe and secure manner. Over 175 residents took advantage of the service and also were provided with free hand sanitizers. On Sunday, the city held a free basketball clinic for kids at Freeman Park to introduce them to basketball and its fundamentals, and also to help them improve their ball handling skills, passing, and shooting. City has a number of upcoming events, including 2 this week. Like I said, the vaccination clinic at City Hall, and our much anticipated MLK parade on Saturday, along with our afternoon in the park. We'll all see that in the video. We can just play the video now. All right. As you can see, we're packed with all kinds of activities in the coming months. Last but not least, I want to greet a very happy birthday to our Community Development Director, Greg Sugiuchi. Today is his actual birthday. Greg, are you here?
Ducked out.
He's celebrating.
He was here earlier. No? Okay. Well, oh, there he is. Where'd you go, birthday?
I'm here.
All right. Happy birthday, Greg.
Thank you.
What do you turn 24 today?
Yeah, big 21. No, big 5'2".
All right. Greg's actually off today, but he's here for the council meeting.
Oh, wow.
So thank you, Greg, and happy birthday.
Thank you.
All right.
All right. Madam Mayor, that ends my report.
Okay, thank you. Okay, so let's go ahead and begin tonight with council directors. We're going to begin with Mayor Pro Tem.
I have no directives, ma'am, but how about my report?
I'm sorry, I say directives, I meant to say remarks.
That's fine.
Remarks.
Actually, mine's pretty light. I did the shredding. The only thing I did since the last meeting, I did the shredding. That was a great event because I've got so much of my mom's stuff after she passed away to just shred. I guess it was kind of a thing where older generation, they kept every bill, every check, everything that they wrote. So I'm trying to shred that stuff right now. So thanks to the city for doing that. But the last thing I just want to do is I want us to all think about Officer Bella, who had lost his life, just being a helicopter observer. I've been in those helicopters. I've been an observer, and I'm going to tell you, we just throw our condolences out to his family. It's just a tragic thing. So to him and his family, to Huntington Beach Police Department, we love y'all, and we're praying for you. And that's all I have, Madam Mayor.
Okay, thank you. Next up is Mayor Pro Tem. I'm sorry, Councilmember Cascanian. His coffee isn't working.
Okay. Madam Mayor, no report, and happy birthday, Greg. Thank you.
Okay. Thank you. Next up is Councilmember Henderson.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. I want to start off by thanking the Gardena PD for providing service to a family in need. We received a letter today. I forwarded it to the Chief of Police and our city manager. I think our police officers don't get enough credit when they do well. So this community member wanted to make sure that they express their gratitude to our PD and public service group and everything. I think part of that came out of our listening tour as far as our officers showing empathy to families in time of need. So I did share that and everything. I'm sure city manager will share that around. Since our last meeting, I attended County of LA homeless panel, which was pretty interesting. It was the County of LA with a bunch of community-based organizations in regards to how LA County can address homelessness, and the discussion came up about Measure H and could cities do a better job if they just receive their own funding back and everything. So it was a pretty spirited discussion. No action items came out of that yet, so I guess it'll be ongoing. I went to a District 2 meeting. I went to the Metro South Bay Vermont Corridor update meeting. That was pretty interesting, their presentation. The shredding event was a lot of fun. Of course, went to my LA Business Federation board meeting, and I had an opportunity to speak at the Consolidated Board of Realtors event, their officers being sworn in. My sister is now the president of the Realtors, so I'm excited about that and everything. Other than that, Madam Mayor, so ends my report. Happy Valentine's Day for all the lovers in the house that celebrated this past week. That's it, Madam Mayor.
Okay, thank you. For myself, I attended my monthly board meetings, the LA Sanitation, County Sanitation Board meeting, and also my CCGA meeting. And in the next probably couple of months, I'll start talking more about the new initiative that we're going to have on the ballot, just so that everybody's informed of that, to see how it's going to be beneficial to the state of California, more specifically cities like ours that have 2 card rooms in it. Also, since the last council meeting, I had the opportunity to try out a really cool new restaurant, CM Chicken, that took the place of Amadine's right off of Western here. And I have to say, they have some of the most amazing chicken there. And I'm not a big chicken lover, but I fell in love with it. So I want to encourage everybody to go there and try out the chicken. They had a drawing, and from the time, I guess, that they opened, that anybody who left their receipt there could have the potential of winning an iPad, a 70-inch screen TV. I think it was a couple of microwaves. It was a lot of different electronics, but it was really neat the fact that they were just giving back to the community and thanking their customers, for just patronizing them. So being able to get chosen to receive any of those items was a big deal. So I'm happy I had the opportunity to go there. And actually myself and Councilmember Kaskanian were asked to go and actually do the raffle. So that was a lot of fun. I too attended the paper shredding event, and residents were so pleased with it. And they just want to know, when can we do it again? They hope they can get a little bit more notice as far as letting some of their neighbors know. But I mean, one lady was almost in tears saying how wonderful this was. So I just want to thank our staff for bringing this item back around again, because it's something that we all need to do as we're decluttering our houses. And I thought I was probably going to be the only council member up there. So it was good to see all you guys up there as well, getting rid of some of your papers that need to be shredded. So thank you guys for that again. Last thing I just want to mention, I want to encourage everybody to please keep using our Gardena Direct app. We're still seeing a lot of graffiti out there. Sometimes I feel like I'm the only one out there snapping the pictures, but I know it's more. I know. It's just we're seeing so much graffiti out there now. Graffiti, people leaving furniture in front of their homes, or just dumping it somewhere else. Please report those items. I'm getting phone calls from residents saying, is it today one of those big cleanup days where everybody can just put their furniture outside? I'm like, no, we don't have that. These are just people dumping. So if you see it, please report it. And I just want to also remind people, and this is something else I keep hearing out there, people leaving their trash cans in front of their houses all week long. I don't know if they're either trying to keep people from parking in front of their houses, or maybe they just don't feel like taking their trash cans in. But just so you know, you're not supposed to have your trash cans visible in front of your house if it's not trash day. You can have your trash can out there 24 hours before and 24 hours afterwards, but you must take your trash can and put it behind or in your garage or behind a fence or something, so it should not be visible. And I believe that your neighbors will appreciate the fact that we're keeping up the quality of life here in Gardena by not making that visible when it's not your trash day. So that's all that I have. That ends my report. And next up is Councilmember Francis.
Good evening, everyone. Since our last meeting, I did attend the Greater Los Angeles County Vector Control meeting, and they're going through they're hiring a new director and all that right now. But it was very interesting. They did talk about some of the things they're going on. There was a convention in Northern California. They talked about some of the new strategies that they're going to use to control mosquitoes. And I got to tell you, it did pique my biology major instinct. I thought, oh, this is going to be interesting. At first I thought, oh, okay. I think it's going to be very interesting to me anyway. So I go back to my college days as a bio major. Anyway, I'm not going to keep it going about all the other things I've done. I did attend a homeless count training. And so tomorrow night I'll be out counting to see about participating in that activity. I'm looking forward to it. But the most important thing, I just want to make sure that I see everyone out at the Dr. Martin Luther King Commemorative Parade on this Saturday, February 26th. It's already been mentioned, but this year it's especially exciting because we are combined with the Afternoon in the Park Black History Month program. And we're celebrating our Grand Marshals. It will be the Sarah High School 2021 CIF champions. And we're going to have a Battle of the Band competition and a drumline competition after the parade. So if for no other reason is to come out and support our young people and some of the wonderful things that they're doing, please come out and celebrate them with us. And also this special election as a result of our Assembly member Autumn Burke resigning, make sure you vote on April 5th. If you live north of Rosecrans, you are a part of the Assembly 62nd District. And so far, we'll have some other conversations about the new lines been drawn. But for this particular concern, we need everyone to come out for. There's only one day, and I'll just kind of want to make that clear again. There's one day, April 5th. You're voting at Raleigh Park, so please come out and make sure you cast your vote. And I won't go into details about who's running, but that's going to conclude my report. So see everybody on Saturday. Looking forward, and we're able to go forward with this. because of some generous support of some of our supporters. And thank you so very much.
All right, thank you. Okay, a couple of things that I didn't see in that video. Just a couple of quick announcements here. The first one is for support services program. So just so people know that we do have that for our seniors. City staff and volunteers will assist Gardena seniors who are age 60 plus with the following services: light housekeeping, transportation to appointments, grocery shopping, medication pickup, program applications, and paperwork. So if you have questions about that, you can call our office, our Senior Bureau office at 310-217-9552. Also, the free COVID-19 vaccination mobile clinic. Oh, I'm sorry, we didn't mention that one. And I think we mentioned casino night. Yes, no? In the video? Okay. All right, so those are the upcoming announcements. And the last thing, we're going to move on to remembrances. So tonight we're going to adjourn in memory of Teresa Lone Nguyen, who was 92 years of age and the beloved aunt of program coordinator Hong Lee in the Public Works Department. We're also going to adjourn in memory of William Tillis, who worked for the City of Gardena's Recreation Department in the 1970s. So at this time, the Gardena City Council will adjourn to the closed session portion of our City Council meeting at 7 p.m., followed by the regular City Council meeting at 7:30 p.m. on Tuesday, March 8th, 2022. At this time, we are adjourned. Thank you.
Good night, all. Have a good night.
Good night, everyone.
Night, everybody.
Night, y'all.
Saturday, February 26th, race starts at 10 a.m. at Sarah High School. See you.
Be there at 9:30.
8 o'clock, sir.
Don't forget your cookies, Madam Mayor.